Hey guys, it's me, Michael Lenoci. Make sure you check out some of my upcoming shows. Tickets at michaellenoci.com.
Was Florida State good when you went there? What years you go there?
So when I'm there,
Christian Ponder?
uh,
EJ Manuel.
the first year, my first year was Knicks, right? I think
Okay.
because it's 2003, and it was the end of Knicks, and everyone's like, get rid of him, he's not good enough. And then the next year was like, was it Ponder?
Was EJ Manuel before Ponder or was
I
it
think he was
after?
after. Dude, either way, it
Ponder
was
went first round. He shouldn't have.
it was the worst time of FSU. It was like when they're like, all right, Bobby Bowden, you're done. So it was like, besides this year, they were like 5-7, like 7-6. Like they weren't even in bowl. Like it wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
And UF was killing it because they were. That's when we left. I remember they were winning that. It was Tebow time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool because like I didn't give a fuck. I was just like, dude, we gotta go to Gainesville
game,
and
get
party
drunk,
with them.
yeah.
So we left. I remember at halftime of the national championship and like, let's go. We'll miss the whole half. By the time we get to Gainesville, the game will be over and we'll party with everyone.
Oh, wow. That's kind of dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a time. I mean, I didn't even realize about tailgating till it was done. Like, when you play, you just on your headphones, you see everybody flipping off the bus, and they're like, they don't know whose team it is. So and then I finally tailgated after I was done playing. I was like, holy shit.
You had fun.
That's the funnest time you ever had, man. It's
Yeah.
food, it's fucking games playing, it's liquor, it's cornhole, it's someone to talk shit to. It is like literally the best experience. And Florida State versus Miami is just the best. Like, that's
this year, yeah. I mean, now it's just like not. It's not really a thing right now because Miami's so much better. But
just 4 years ago or 5 years ago, it was the opposite, though. I remember when Duke Johnson was there, you guys had a 21-point spread and covered it on us. I was like, damn.
Yeah, there was a dude. I've always wanted all of them to be really good. I'm not like a hater to Florida teams because I just like loved growing up when they dominated. Dude, all three of them were top 10 in the 90s. It was like, oh, this is awesome. Like we're dominating the country in football. But now I tell people, I'm like, listen, if FSU's bad, I go for Miami. And they're like, how could you do that? I'm like, I'm a kid. It's in your blood. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. That was huge. Like, we had the Dolphins and you had the Hurricanes. Heat were coming along.
Yeah.
Baseball was new. We won a World Series in 97, but still, like, as a diehard Hurricanes fan, I didn't know I was going to go to FSU. And then when I do go to FSU, it's like the worst 4 or 5 years of the last 20 years. Not anymore, but like they weren't as relevant, and UF was killing it. So I was like, all right, well, and Miami was just, you had the Ken Dorsey years where they were really good. So I was like, I was in high school. I was like cheering them on. I didn't know it was going to FSU. So I don't think they're like, yeah, but you went to college there. I go, I can't just change. I don't understand. I think I have a more logical argument.
Yeah, no, and honestly, if we're being honest, and the cameras aren't recording,
It is.
I actually root for FSU to be good, just so the rivalry holds up.
This is
so
recording.
Like, when they have a chance, okay, all right, then you got to tell me the mic's on before I start giving you the goodies.
Yeah, it's on.
All right, I'm giving you
This
the
is the
goodies.
best part.
I'm giving you the. All right, yeah, I was giving you insider trading information. No,
Jared Campbell is cheering for the Gators.
no, not the Gators. The
And
FSU.
the FSU.
FSU. If they got a chance to win a championship, I'm like, go ahead, because it makes the rivalry stronger. It's
Yeah, I
almost
agree.
like your enemy. The weaker your enemy is, the weaker you are when it comes to that battle. And so, like, the fact that Florida State's down and out, it's kind of shitty because, like, that game is supposed to be a fun game. It's supposed to be like, loser doesn't make it to the playoffs. And so, yeah, when we win by like 40 points or 27.
Oh, the Gators are going to beat them by like 40 points.
Gators got good. After we beat
Yeah.
them, we spanked them, and then they decided to start playing again.
I think on Saturday, because they haven't been good against FSU for like the last few years, they're going to probably run up the score. Just to be like, F you.
I wish Anthony Richardson would have stayed a couple years because he left. He's like younger than like 3 or 4 of the quarterbacks that are supposed to be like first round quarterbacks this year.
I think that's like how Zach Wilson's still young too.
Yeah.
Dude, we kick quarterbacks out of the NFL really quick.
I mean, it's kind of an unfortunate situation. Like, you think the Packers do it best. The Packers get a quarterback. They let him sit for 3 years.
Dude, 3 in a row they got.
Enjoy being rich for a little bit. Like, people don't realize when you get rich, you got to, like, that takes time. It takes time being
learn
rich.
how to be rich.
Yeah, you just got to go party. You got to go spend. You got to get a new car. You got family calling you, people inviting you places.
I'm sure it's crazy.
If you also got to study a playbook and, like, be a full-time quarterback, it's hard. And so, like,
I can't imagine. Yeah, your brother probably has like fucking 20 phone calls a week.
Oh yeah, he's at a point now where he can you know how, like you can gauge when somebody's like, oh, you're gonna ask me. Like he can tell the time of day, the tone of voice. He just like how much. You'd be surprised how like they're just tells, hey man, how's your day going? The weather good. All right, how much you need? I ain't got time.
That's awesome, dude. Dude, so you think what was I gonna say? Like, are you gonna go to one of the games
The
for
Jet-
Christmas?
We're 1-3 at the games I've been to. And so that scares me. Obviously, we lost to the Bills on a Thursday night game.
But you won't be there for the 49ers game?
I'm debating right now. I plan my life very short term because I move a lot. So
Yeah.
I know I'm going out for the 5th through the 7th for the
Jets game.
in Art Basel. And then I'm coming back here and I'm doing a comedy show. Anybody watching in LA, December 14th. We rented out a warehouse. Got a vent decorator to make it look really cool.
Damn, I wish I was gonna be here.
Oh man, I got some of my most important people to see me. You know, one of them shows where you kind of need to be really funny.
Yeah,
which
you'll be
makes it
fine.
hard.
You're
I
funny.
mean, yeah. I'm gonna be great. But yeah, I got a couple athletes. You know, people don't realize that. Like I remember the first time I did stand up in front of my teammates in Miami. Because, you know, like, football's like brotherhood. Like, obviously, they love
not
you.
easy.
But
I've
they
done it.
roast you so much in the locker room that you're like, if I do bad here, I will never hear the end of this. So I'm kind of nervous that they're going to heckle me. Like, they're your brothers in the sense of, like, they'll pick on you. But yet, like, in the outsider setting like that, where they saw me do stand-up, they love me. Everybody's laughing loud, supporting. And I killed it. And everybody was like, the coach was like, okay, come here. You funny now, huh? Come on, you want to stand up? And I was like, no, I'm not doing it for the team.
Yeah.
And that's I'm doing it in front of Malik Jackson's coming out. A couple of retired players are gonna be there. So yeah, if
That's
you're
fun.
here, show
Come
up.
through. Did you what you knew when I did the stand up in front of the team and I walked in there and I had a bunch of guys, I realized it's not the same because I was like, oh, it's all men. It's like you're so used to doing a show with everyone. I walked in and I go, oh, this is interesting. Because usually people laugh more when they're with girls or anything.
Girls laugh.
And I was
they
like,
make it
oh,
more-
I gotta like. And then, I'm also doing a stand-up for a bunch of 24-year-old millionaires. It's just a weird thing, right? Because they're like I'm 15 years older than them, but like they're like in a way they're more grown up than I am because it's like football's the military in a way. So I was like, oh fuck, how do I like do it? Definitely made me nervous. And then like I remember some of the bits were like kind of not hitting with some of the comics, and so I knew everything about the players from watching press conferences. I just started going in. I was just like, Duke Riley, I go, what, did you smoke all the weed? Like, just start saying stuff. At the time, Mike Gesicki was in there with Durham Smythe, and they were like, they're best friends. I go, well, are you best friends, or is there something else you guys want to tell us? Shit like that. Christian Wilkins was in the back, and I was just like, dude, you're into weird stuff. I've seen your plays where you're poking guys at the bottom of the thing, because there was videos like of like actually seeing him go like this to a couple guys to get them like to fight so he could get flags. And I was like, dude, you're into some weird stuff, and that got a reaction. Because he's like a little dirty player. And then Wes Welker, the coach, I don't know if you know about him. He's like, I guess like he maybe likes to drink. I don't know. That's what I've heard through the grapevine. I'm not gonna say how. That's just what I've heard. And he like was trying to heckle or something. I go, what are you, drunk already? That got a laugh. And then I said, maybe if you didn't drink so much, you would have caught that ball in the Super Bowl.
Damn.
And everybody's like, oh! And he goes, that's too far, man, jokingly.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's too far. But that got a great reaction because he has that infamous drop from Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But
no, you got to kill. Like people don't understand that. Like you have to like go hard in those scenarios because people don't laugh. Like women laugh at cute jokes. You tell your story, how you're in love. Like that's the kind of stuff that makes a lot of women laugh. I did the Rose Bowl pre-show. You ever did those?
No, I heard about that.
I did that the year Georgia versus Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, sick.
And it was me and Theo Vaughn and Darnell Wrongs, and I was hosting.
Whoa.
And I can tell you right now, I did Georgia first, and I've never bombed so hard in my life.
Really?
But they also like bombs you like, hey, nothing inexplicit, just clean jokes. And you're dealing with a bunch of, like, I get in there, the kids are standing on the table and dancing, and they're like 20.
They're 18.
18 to 24,
19, yeah.
They're wild. And so, like, Theo had kind of a tough time, but Darnell Rawns was able to get him.
Well,
he
he'll just go in hard.
But then Oklahoma came, and I was like, you ever did that bomb set where you like, I'm doing push-ups, I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
And so I killed at the Oklahoma one, which is like 2 days. So
Was Baker there?
Yeah, no, Baker was sick that week. I remember he was sick, and so he ended up missing it. But I remember, like, I killed so hard I was rooting for Oklahoma. I was like, Oklahoma got to win this.
Yeah.
And then I remember the next year I was at the Super Bowl in Miami, and I was talking to Calais, and this dude comes over, and he's just talking. Calais is talking to Baker, and this other kid comes up, and he's like, "Yo, you're a comedian, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro, you're hilarious." And I was like, "Yeah, thank you, man. I'm kind of busy right now." And then I looked over, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is Kyler Murray." Like,
Oh, what?
He's the smallest human being you've ever seen. You would not think he's a football
He's
player.
like 5'9", yeah, right?
You know, he's like skinny, 5'9". Like, he's the kind of guy you would overlook. Like, girls would probably like, "Get away from me, loser." And they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, it's Kyler Murray."
Yeah.
Like, that's how like normal he looks. And so, yeah, Kyler Murray thinks I'm funny. So thank you, Kyler Murray. That reserved faith in my comedy career.
Yeah, thank you for beating us earlier this year, too. He actually played a great game.
He's good. I think people slept on him. You know
Well,
what?
I think that whole rumor, with him and his work ethic, and then last year he was injured for a little bit and then came back. At the tail end of the season, they won, I think, 2 of like 5, even though they were kind of out of it. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, listen, it's like there's, I don't know if you agree with this, like there's the elite top 5, and then the 6th through 15th quarterback are interchangeable. Sometimes they're the 6th best quarterback or they're the 15th, right?
Yeah.
They're all kind of, they float around that for their career. Yeah. And then there's 16 to 32 who are just guys who are bridge quarterbacks or try to get into that place where maybe they're going to be consistent. Like Baker now for a little bit was outside of the 15. He's in the 15. He's always going to be good there. Sam Darnold now. Tua, he's in there, right? Tua can either be a top 10, but then there's times when you're like, nah, he's 15th. And then I think Jordan Love. You're never going to break Burrow, Allen, Lamar, Mahomes.
Yeah.
No one's breaking that. So that's what I tell Dolphin fans. I go, like, if you want to, like, move on and you're not sold on two, like, who do you think is coming out of college that is going to be better than Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar, or, Allen? Like, no one's going to come in and be better. So this is your best chance to win with the way the McDaniel offense is working. That's what I try to tell people.
And you're there, like, you get it. And like, to go back to the Kyler thing, I think what hurts Kyler Murray the most, and like, people don't talk about this. I'm good friends with Larry Fitz.
Oh, I love
and
him.
Larry was there for Kyler's rookie year, and then he didn't come back, but they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. And DeAndre Hopkins is a Hall of Famer, one of the best receivers. But he has a work ethic where he just does not practice. He doesn't think it's important.
He's like a Randy Moss.
I don't know how bad Moss is, but they were saying, like, he's so bad that, like, it hurt Kyler Murray because Kyler thought that's the norm. And so he would come in and be like, "Oh, we don't need to do routes. We don't need to practice. We don't need none of that."
He's
and
just he likes to play.
And so Kyler had that great year, and then the next year when they got Hopkins, they kind of sucked, and, like, he kind of, like, fell off, and then Larry retired. Like, Larry, as genius as he is, he goes, "Man, I made more money by not retiring officially because I got another 2 years of people like giving me contracts as if I was playing." And so he ended up walking away because he was like, "I didn't like the way they were practicing. I didn't like the culture of the team." And so he was like, "I couldn't keep going." But this is like Cliff Kingsbury's years. And but Kyler Murray, I think, is back. I think he's back in the film room. Obviously, they worked the contract out to make sure that he has to put a certain amount of hours in. But, like, quarterback's not a position that you just get. Like, it takes time. Like, nobody.
You have to be a little cerebral, like smart. For sure.
But not even smart, you got to be also that. Like, Tom Brady works his ass off. Like, even like Andrew Luck to work his ass off.
They know the defenses.
People sleep on Lamar. Like, they don't think Lamar works his ass off. Like, Lamar is a beast. Like, obviously he's an athletic freak, but, like, he's a very intelligent quarterback too. So
yeah. Well, you have to know the coverages and what you're going to see. And, dude, if you're not going to pick up a guy blitzing from the outside, like, you don't actually see it as often as you used to where a guy's coming off the outside and the quarterback doesn't see him and he just gets knocked and it's a fumble. Dude, that's on the quarterback. When you see those plays where they don't see the guy coming, they get you rarely see that anymore.
You know that. You know the protection is going to leave that hole.
Like, if you're not paying attention to that's like a mistake on your part. But, I mean, dude, even watching Tua's press conferences, I could tell he's watching film. I think there was something on him early on in his career. But, I don't know. I mean,
we saw his dad. His dad's the nicest human being ever, man.
I was also like, why are they there? Like, I was like, there's no way Tua's coming out here.
You never know.
Maybe he was
gonna know.
But, dude, Kyler's so good that he just has to go so far back to throw the ball over the lineman.
I mean, you got to make advantage. He's such a small person that he has to find ways to win. But they're good. I think, to be honest with you, that loss is not as bad because I think they're like 6-5 right now. But I think they will make a playoffs. Like, they're that good.
Well, here's the deal with that division. They're 6-5. Seattle 6-5. 49ers are 5-6 and Rams are 5-6. We're not going to know who wins that division until week 18.
Yeah.
Like it's that at the end of the day, you could speculate, but they all play each other. That's going to be the last week where they're going to flex that game. It's going to be one of those bad division games where the winner gets in, and that's just how it is.
I don't want the AFC South to get a spot. I just feel like they're so bad this year.
AFC,
like,
well, it's Houston's locked. Dude, Houston could go 9-8 and they're going to win. I mean, the Colts aren't catching them.
And then I think they'll surprise the team like that first wild card game. They're just
They'll play the
good enough.
5 seed, which you assume will be whoever doesn't win the North.
Yeah.
Ravens or Steelers, which I think
Yeah.
the Ravens will win. I think the Steelers have a very tough schedule.
Yeah. No, then the Steelers lose to them. I think if the Dolphins could get in and we play the Bills,
Or the Chiefs. If the Chiefs lose another, Bills get 1 seed.
I do not want to see the Dolphins go into Arrowhead.
Again?
It just that Dolphins don't play well in that kind of climate, in that kind of environment. I think the Bills, you know well enough, you've been there, you kind of
And
understand.
we played them good twice in the Colts.
And so I ideally would like the Bills to be the team that we play.
Yeah.
But I will say the Chiefs have looked bad. Like they haven't looked their super powered team.
No.
He's missing those receivers. The running game seems like to be lacking. If Pacheco comes back, I think maybe it's a
Which is
little
supposed
different.
to come this week or something, I think.
Oh, okay. So then yeah. But I'm all in on the Dolphins. I think if they can get Tua fully working, Waddle and Tyreek, because like they have that beast. Like the reason Calais signed there is he was like, this offense is so good, it's going to create a lot of opportunities when he gets sacks, and the defense just got to play, good enough. Because they weren't known to be a defense team. This is like now the defense that kind of carried
Well,
them.
dude, if they had any sort of a defense last year, they might have won some of those games down the stretch and been a 2 seed last year instead of falling to the division and becoming a 5 seed, or a 6 seed. But this year, I mean, hold on. Let's take it back for a second. At what point were you like, oh, shit, this isn't gonna be good? Like, did you at any point think? Because I was always, delusional.
Yeah, you called me otherwise. We
I
got
got
this. I was like,
got
this is
this.
one of those
Dude.
guys that's overly enthusiastic.
No.
Hey, man, we might be 0-11, but it's not out of the question.
No. I just saw. Before Tua gets hurt, the Jacksonville game and even in the Buffalo game before he gets hurt, I was like, okay, they're off. That's fine. And it's like you see this happen all the time. Some great teams that are potentially supposed to be very good start off slow. They believe in their hype coming into the offseason. Whereas like last year they were the number 1 offense right away. They scored 72 points week 2. It was crazy. I think McDaniels said it in the press conferences, when you are the number 1 offense 2 years in a row, you get a lot of attention in the offseason. It's a copycat league. You're seeing a lot of teams doing pre-snap motion. He had to rebuild this offense. And he goes, I need to build an offense that can win late in the year in cold weather games and in December, and that's running the ball a lot. And what people don't realize is during our four games without Tua, we were running the ball 150 yards, 200 yards a game. Those defenses, all they have to do is go like, hey, stop the run. They can't beat us. They still couldn't stop the run. That's how good of a team this offense is turning into. Now that you have Tua, you're starting to see the big plays open up. But don't forget that we have 3 running backs that can run the ball too.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just like, oh man, I was going to be out. I said, give me 1 more week against the Bills. I go, the Cardinals loss was a tough loss, but I go, offensively we looked better. Defense failed us there. I go, let me go 1 more week. If we lose against the Buffalo Bills, I'll go sell. I said that on my podcast. I go, sell the team. Let's build for the future. But like we're stuck with Tua, but like maybe we'll get some young draft picks, whatever. Then the way we played the Bills, like I was like, dude, that's like we played so good. We played so good for the outside of the fumble, and I go, to lose like that, it's demoralizing. So let's see. I go, let me see how we bounce back. And then when we beat the Rams, I go, okay, here we go. Because then I knew we would win the next 2. And then I know that's the Patriots, but the way the offense was playing, I mean, dude, we should have won 52-7.
Yeah, the Bills also got that pass interference call, remember, late too. Like I felt like the refs
Von
were not.
Poyer.
Yeah, the refs weren't really.
He's got to be
necessary.
smarter. He's kind of been a little bit of a frustrating piece for the Dolphins this year, but
No,
his
he played-
leadership later in the year will be better.
He played so well with the Bills like 2 years ago. I remember I was like, that guy was everywhere. And now Rapp is becoming him. Like I was like, this guy Rapp is amazing. He's like their best player.
Really?
Yeah, the guy Rapp, he gets all the interceptions and all the like.
Oh,
plays.
and the Bills for the Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poyer's a little. Again, you would know more about this than I do. There's so many things that don't have numbers besides tackles and interceptions that are important that they emphasize in press conferences about Poyer. So maybe there's a leadership role or the way he's identifying coverages. I don't know. But
as far as name brand, though, I think our defense is one of the top tier, like, name brand defenses. I think Sear is playing lights out. I think Chop Robson's finally coming alive.
Dude,
He had,
that's
like,
awesome.
Three sacks. Brooks, I think, is an underrated linebacker. Whose buddy we got rid of? We cut Long, right?
yeah, what happened there? Do you know?
He wasn't playing great. I mean,
Is that what it was?
Yeah, just at the point I don't have any other inside information.
Yeah.
It's like him doing something wrong.
Breaking news. No. Yeah, that was kind of out of left field because again, those are things I don't know. You're watching the game. I see Brooks is like leading in tackles every game, but we got him from Seattle. He led the league in he had like the most all-purpose tackles.
Who was the linebackers last year? So one of my good friends is Paris
Yeah,
Leonard.
Jerome Baker. He was our other middle linebacker with David Long Jr.
And my friend Paris, he won't watch this, but he doesn't like when people quote him. But he was like, he told Calais, he was like, man, the Dolphins are a good team. He said, but them linebackers they got, I can't rock with them. You're not gonna win a lot of games with them linebacker play. And so then Calais talked to him. He's like, oh, wait a minute, they just got Jordan Brooks. He said, no, I like that kid.
Yeah.
And then he ended up swinging. I'm like, oh, no, they got some guys now.
Yeah.
And so that was like his thing. But he's like, I feel like to me, as a former player, and when I watch it, like, your middle linebackers, if you don't have a good middle linebacker, you're not winning games. Like, that's the heart of a defense. And I used to play safety. And one year we had this guy named Daryl Sharpton who played like 7 years in the league. He was good. And I just knew, like, as long as I could slow this guy down and turn him inside, somebody's going to help me. So, like, you run full speed just to get there. And then the next year, we had a guy named, I ain't going to say his name, but he was not very great. And I remember I would just try to turn him in, and this dude would be cutting him, shaking, and, like, he gets a 16-yard run. And was like, where's the help at, bro?
Yeah.
He was running under blocks, which is like he wasn't a physical dude. And so as a safety, when you run under blocks, it opens a huge hole. And you're like, damn, I got to try to fill this. So now instead of just coming down full speed, you got to break down and make sure you don't get shook in this like 5-foot hole. So that's why I feel like middle linebacker plays the heart. So if you ever look at any team that's like good, it's Bobby Wagner with the Seahawks. It's Roquan Smith with the Ravens. It's always the heart of the team is that middle linebacker.
I felt like it's lost its power over the years because the running game isn't as
You got to be able to cover now, right?
Yeah, so it's not like you don't see the Ray Lewis or Brian Urlachers anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still an important thing where, they have to be a little bit more athletic to cover these guys out of the backfield and stuff. But yeah,
Zach Thomas, man, Dolphins great, man. Zach Thomas.
Just our greatest things in the last 25 years were just two Hall of Famer players that just never got to play in a championship game.
Yeah,
but Brooks is a big thing, and then I don't know who the other linebacker. Walker kind of got banged up, so he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I think there's that tall guy. Remember we were in the player lounge. I go, who is this guy?
Oh no, he bought.
He's like new.
He's good though. He's been playing
they said
well.
He's playing well.
Yeah. That was kind of cool. Yeah, one thing I love about it, you can like. NFL players aren't famous enough that you know their face, and so like you can always just tell who's a player by just the swag. Like
yeah.
Like, who's this guy walking in with this scarf and sleeveless shirt with 3 diamond necklaces on? He must be a player.
So tall and stuff, dude. I mean, listen. So now this defense is so. At one point, you were like, "Oh man, my brother made a mistake."
Oh, I did. I counted them out before they did. After they lost to the Cardinals, I was at that game, and to see them lose on a field goal after like clearly leading the whole game, and the snap over their head that got them to safety, and then eventually let them get in striking distance. And then after the game, I remember they were like being kind of rude in the players area, like you got too many bands, and I'm like, yo, it's only 7 bands, 8 family members, and we still got people. And so like my friend let his kids go down the field, and the lady was like, you guys gotta go, and like really rude, and I was just like, yo, what's the hospitality? Like, I'm not even causing a scene. Yeah. And I remember I was mad. I was like, you know what? This is what you guys got to treat us better. And this is we got to be a winning team. So I was like, Clear, let's go. Let's get out of here. Man.
You were telling him behind my back, huh?
I mean, it wasn't looking good. I was like, well, let's start recruiting, baby. You want to be a lion? What do you want to be?
He probably could have went anywhere because he was playing so well that people were like, well, he can only help.
And to be honest with you, like they can take on the contract the Dolphins gave him, which is like nothing. On your. So any team could pick him up. That's why I feel like teams are trading 4th and 5th round things. But I mean, at the end of the day, Calais is playing in Miami well because he's familiar. He's got a house. He's been living out there. He got his staff comes and takes care of him. The warm weather, he knows how to warm up. I remember in Baltimore, it would take him forever just to get warmed up, man, because it'd be so cold outside.
Really?
Yeah. So he's doing well. I like him there. If he can get a couple more sacks, man, I need him to be in the Pro Bowl, man. That's my worst, like my consolation prize is like if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, Pro Bowl.
I mean, wouldn't it? I mean, listen, just to get a run in the playoffs would be sweet for him.
I think that, I mean, at this point, I've looked at the schedule, right? Let's just go through it, all right?
Let's go through it. We got Green Bay.
Green Bay, I think a winnable game. Green Bay is looking like on a down spiral. Like they blocked
I think they're the worst 8-3 team I've seen.
Yeah.
They're 8-3 though.
But they blocked the kick against the Bears to win. They should have lost to the Bears. They handled Braden Allen was the quarterback for the 49ers, so you really can't take that as like anything serious.
Yeah.
And so I personally think that this is a winnable game. And I feel
Well, they have to win. Like, not statistically, they don't. They could lose this and then win out and still be fine. 10-7 will get you in. That's the key. You want to get to 10 wins, but you don't want to lose AFC games because of the tiebreaker situation. So if you're going to lose a game, it's the Green Bay or the 49ers. But this game represents so many things that the Dolphins can't do. Win in cold weather, win a big game, and it's a Thursday night game. Dude, Tua always gets hurt on Thursday night football games.
Oh, you're right. He's going to have to run.
And on national television with 30 million people watching. This game is so huge that even your brother said in that post game, him and McDaniel were like, it's all for nothing if we don't win Thursday. It's the biggest game because they know that if they win and they get to 6-6 in Green Bay, that tells the NFL like, here we come.
And it's like you kind of control your destiny at that point, right?
Oh, yeah.
You win your games and you don't have to worry about nobody else.
That's it.
You don't need anyone to lose or any help.
If you beat Green Bay, you got 2 against the Jets, who you assume Rodgers doesn't even play for.
Don't just over to the Jets though. I mean, so what I've learned about it, a lot of people think sometimes teams do give up and throw the flag in.
Yeah.
But guys are playing for their job at this point. Coaches are playing for their job, and so you get to a point.
They don't even have a coach or a GM anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Dude, it's a disaster.
It is. I hope they suck. I mean, we can win those 2 in the Green Bay. That's right there. Will put us at what 9 wins.
Well, if we win Green Bay, we're 6-6. But then we have 2 against the Jets, 1 against Cleveland. It's in Cleveland.
Okay, that's
Jameis Winston could haunt us.
Yeah,
but I still think we would match up against them good. And then you have at Houston and then San Francisco at home.
Well, Houston's in the dome, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Calais plays good against teams he plays good against.
We're so fast.
Calais has the most sacks in his career against the Seattle Seahawks, which he got one this year, and the Texans.
I think that we match up well against the Texans in a dome. We're fast. That's a game where it could be a shootout, but what's his name's having a sophomore. You can say it's a sophomore. It's not that he's not great, but it's like, hey man, there's film on him.
So if we win, we get to 600, right? That's all that matters. I think we can go out there and get it. I think the fact that we're starting to play our best ball and teams don't really know our identity. Like you said, we're running the ball. Tyreek hasn't even activated yet. And people still have to account for him. Too high.
No matter what.
You can't just let him go, he's not going to be great this year. And so right now we've been using Jonnu.
Smith he's on his way to a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I think he slept because he had those 2 terrible years in the Patriots. Or I forget where he was at. But like when he was on the Titans back in 2017, 2016, he was a beast. Like he's one of the best.
He was good with Atlanta.
He was good with Atlanta, right? Yeah, Atlanta. He's a fast guy. So
Here's something that it's very possible that this can happen, and I don't know when the last time this has happened, but there could be 3 guys that break 1,000 on the Dolphins. I know that's crazy, but I was looking at the numbers. I go, okay, so 6 games left. Jonnu, Waddle, and Tyreek all have in the 500 yards.
Yeah.
So they all need 400 and change to get to 1,000 in 6 games. Yeah. So if you just have, a big game from Tyreek, a big game from Waddle, and a big game from Jonnu, it gets them close, and then little 45, 55, 65-yard games the rest of the way. That would be a cool thing to achieve of 3 receivers on the Dolphins broke 1,000 yards. That's how good this defense is. That's how powerful the weapons are. On top of Achane, who's already pretty much, I think he's at 1,000 yards he's got 500 rushing and 400 receiving. That's an incredible, dangerous offense.
And you add the fact that they had those 2 games in the middle of the season with Huntley and Thompson where they only had 100 yards receiving, 100 yards passing.
That was disgusting, dude.
Yeah, that was really bad. The Huntley, the national televised Monday Night Football game against the Titans was probably the ugliest.
When I was I was pumped. I was like, we're gonna see something from Huntley, dude. It's just weird how someone can look so good and almost win a playoff game against the Bengals with the Ravens. And you're like, this guy's pretty good. And then, but of course he wasn't. He was on the practice squad. That's what the delusion of the NFL thinks. And it's not that I'm not taking a shot at athletes.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
man. Tyler Huntley's, I'm going to share with him. Be like, yo, check out what Lenoci talking about. Go ahead and speak your shit.
Hey, man, you're just not going to be on a team next year. So come on the podcast and hang out. But
no, Snoop's good. I will say this. The Ravens do a good job of system. Anytime you can build a strong run game, it helps quarterbacks out tremendously. And so when you have Dobbins that year I was at that game where they were running the ball well. So then when it comes down to play action and throw that deep ball, I would say of your quarterbacks, you have top 15 easily, but like the lower tier quarterbacks can make that play. Will Levis looks good when you got a good running game.
Yeah, that's true. There was a couple throws though. He had Tyreek and he just missed them, and it was like, all right, maybe it's hard to get on the same. You would see Tyreek just walk on the field like it was almost like he was like, I just gotta wait till Tua gets back.
Tyreek's so fast that not everybody knows it. Tua just throws the ball 30 yards deep before he even gets there. Like
He's
nowhere.
got that.
Tyreek's
got to
somewhere
throw
out
it
there.
as far as he can.
All right. So let's just count this down. Let's say we win Green Bay.
Yeah.
Then we win Jets.
Yeah.
That puts us at 7-6.
And then right there, you really have. You're probably we could be the 7th seed by then.
But that right there, you won a 5-game win streak. You go against the Texans next, which I think is a very difficult game.
And Houston.
And I mean, yeah, if they win that one, I think you're in the playoffs good. But that game right there, if you lose, we're going to need a whole bunch of dominoes to fall the right way.
Yeah.
I think the 49ers, by that time, who knows where they're at, but they look like they're kind of falling apart. So
it's a tough game. They got to fly across the country. It's a late window game. It's going to be a big turnout for the fan base. I'll be at that game. I'll be drinking. So I'll be yelling.
That's right around Christmas time, right?
22nd. That's
Oh,
why I said let's pull
so
up.
then they don't want to be
It's
there.
my friend's birthday too, so we're all going to be in like the club level, and in the club level at Dolphins Stadium at halftime on the Miami Dolphins sideline side inside the club level, there's this main bar where they have a live band play.
Oh, I didn't know
that. And they
that.
play like Latino music. Dude, you get drunk, bro. It's a party. To where like I don't think I ever every time I go to a Dolphins game now, I know to go there. I don't think I see the third quarter ever. I think I get so drunk that you're laughing like, dude, it's the fourth. All right, we got to start paying attention.
My experience as a Dolphins fan at the games has been miserable. I would say that stadium.
This will be a fun one.
I played college football there. It was not like this. I don't know. But I go to Miami Hurricane games. They've got the little club level. It's fun. Everybody walks around. You get your little drinks.
Yeah.
I was in the regular section of like row 7. And I've never felt like a sauna before. It just literally was that hot that I was
Too early
like,
in the year.
And I was drinking before this, so I'm like sweating out just fucking toxins. It was just terrible. And so that being the case, I'm almost waiting. I'm going to games in December only. December and January.
December 22nd. That's getting because what a big game that will be if we do continue to win out and you beat the 49ers and then because it's him beating his mentor, which is great because the last time we played them in San Francisco was Purdy's coming out game. Yeah. So we owed them one. And then the final 2 games would be at Cleveland, which...
How bad is this? I'm going to say something, and it's going to be terrible, but you just got to think it as a true fan. Let's just say Josh Allen gets a high ankle sprain. You know, the guy's been healthy as can be. I've never seen a more healthy player in my life. Guy never gets hurt. He doesn't even slide. And I don't like it, but I'm saying if he goes out, that Bills team live and dies by Josh Allen.
Sure. Well, like most teams do, though, right?
Yeah, but we were out Tua for a while, and I'm just like, if they lose a couple of games, man, do you think that we could potentially take that top spot, or is it done?
No, it's done.
Because they beat us twice, and so if they lost,
so they're 9-2, so they're gonna win 11 games.
I mean, they would have to lose out.
They would have to win. Yeah, because
we'd have to win 10, and they would.
We would have to go 11-6, and they would have to go 10-7, and they're at 9-2. They're not only winning one more.
I mean, without Josh Allen, who is their backup?
I mean, then he has to get
Matt
hurt.
Barkley.
He has to get hurt. It's actually Trubinsky.
Oh yeah, that guy could lose 6 games.
he has to get hurt this week, but I don't know.
I'm not wishing for that, but I'm just saying if it happened. Now sometimes I'm like
for me, I rather win, and I want to go play them and be like, you know what? I'm sick of being scared of them. I want to go there and play them and beat them and just be like, okay. Like, I don't know, let me be delusional.
I could just see it, man. I think we go out there, we're in the playoffs, it looks good, we're playing well, and the next Josh Allen got the ball with 3 minutes left down by 4, and he just turns on, man, and I'm just like, I wish he would have tore his neck. I wish he would have.
I hate that he's a Bills player because I will say if the Dolphins are out of it, I'll be rooting for them. I like watching him. He's one of my favorite players to watch.
This is fun. This is an MVP.
Him and Lamar, I'll be rooting for in the AFC. Like I'd love to see them go. And then if the Lions made the Super Bowl, I don't know how I'd feel. Like I might go for them because you got to love what that's.
They're gonna fall apart. Here, mark this. I don't know. I need this cut from me, just me. All right, mark this. All right. I've been wrong about a lot. I thought the Bills would be bad this year. They would take it without Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
The Lions.
I think they're going to fall apart.
They are a well-oiled machine, from the great defense to Jared Goff looking like an all-pro quarterback, and that two-headed monster at running back. And they have great receivers, Amron, Williamson, and they're just a solid team down the block. I think they've gotten so good. Like they're at a point where they're just blowing every team out. And I think that hurts them. You said last year the Dolphins.
Well, it's kind of we were 9-3. We started off 9-3. We ended the season 11-6.
I think the Lions go on a coach streak, and I think the NFC is wide open. If you want to pick my pick from the NFC, I think the Eagles.
Well, now you think the Eagles are getting hot at the right time.
Yes, and I just think they don't have a weakness. Like I was just trying to find out what's their weak spot. They got two great receivers. They got one of the probably MVP candidate
MVP right now, yeah.
And then you got Hurts who can run and throw the ball well enough. Their defense is solid.
They're basically back to what they were when they went to the Super Bowl, but now with Saquon.
Yeah, and so I think they're under the radar. I think their division sucks. Every team besides the Commanders is just terrible this year, and I think the Commanders are a little bit overinflated. Like I don't think
They might not make the playoffs.
the Commanders.
They could miss the playoffs
How?
because they're 7-4, 7-5, and this is how. They are. Let me show you right here.
This guy's been doing the research. He has,
Oh yeah, dude.
Mike's a computer statistic in his head. Like
I
he
love
literally told me like week 5. He was like, "We need the Broncos to lose to
Yes,
the Chiefs."
we
Week
need them.
18.
We do, yeah.
And I was like, "How did you get there?" Like,
Dude, all I did, I studied it. Dude, so Washington's the 7th seed right now at 7-5. Okay, the 8th seed would be the second place team in the West, which is the Cardinals at 6-5. So they're half a game back, and then you have Tampa Bay at 5-6. So they're the second team in the South. So Washington, Tampa could move up. They're going to go on a win streak. Washington still has this left. They have the Titans, not an easy game, but they should win. Then they have the Saints, not an easy game, but they should win. Then they have the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Cowboys. So
they might go.
they might go. They might go.
As you said it out loud, I'm like,
They might go. But the Bucks have the Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints.
Yeah,
They could win out.
Yeah, Chargers. You need the Chargers to really win,
But we
them to
need
lose.
the Bucks to beat them.
Yeah, we need Baker Mayfield to turn into prime Oklahoma versus Ohio
We need
State.
that. The Denver game. Here's what scares me. Denver has Jacksonville this week. Annoying. I'm sorry, that's the Texans.
Jacksonville's are going to surprise somebody.
Here's who Denver has. We need Denver to lose just one more game. They have the Browns this week.
Is it at the Browns?
It's in Denver.
Oh, it better.
Okay. Then the next week they have Colts at home.
All right, they're going to win both of those.
Then they come to LA to play the Chargers. They could lose that.
I mean, that's a toss-up for us. It doesn't matter because
It doesn't matter, but at this rate, you want the Chargers to win because they have 7-4. You got to assume they're going to make the playoffs anyways.
yeah.
But yes, and then the next week the Broncos have to go to Cincinnati, and I know they're going to be out of it, but they're a tough team.
Yeah.
They're actually one of the best teams that's not going to make the playoffs, which is unfortunate because they're great.
Is it me? Or is there way more Bengals fans than there is? Cincinnati doesn't seem like that big of a city. And no matter where you go, there's just a lot of diehard Bengals fans. And they've never won a championship. Like, it's not like they got fans other places because they've been good. Like,
No, they're not. They're not like historically like the Dolphins. Well, it would probably be Steelers and Packers and Bears, Philly, Dolphins, teams that were Dallas, teams that were good in the 70s. Their
people
fan base
started
is
watching,
big because
yeah.
they've trained their kids to watch those teams. So like Steelers obviously have a biggest fan base. The Eagles travel well too. Dolphins, yeah, but Cincinnati doesn't have a winning. In the 80s, I guess they went to a couple Super Bowls.
but that just, to me, like, I mean, there's a lot of comedians that are diehard Bengals fans. And, like, everywhere I go, you just see, like, random Burrow jerseys. I'm just like, there's not enough people coming out of
'cause he's
Cincinnati
good, yeah.
to have this many fans. It's just kind of
Ohio.
shocking. But Ohio, I feel like your average fan in Ohio is a Browns fan. God bless them. It sucks that you live in Ohio and have to root for the Browns. But like, I don't think the Dolphins, they had a perfect season. Just imagine you being a kid and be like, I want to rush football. And you see this perfect season, and you're like, I want to be a fan of that team. You want to root for the teams that
Yeah.
are winners. There's Chiefs fans being born right now. There's kids that are Chiefs fans. There should not be this many Bengals fans.
No, but I mean, God, it kind of wouldn't be bad to be a Bengals fan right now, though. Even though they're not going to maybe make the playoffs this year, you have Burrow for the next 14 years.
He's good.
He's the best.
But they don't win it all with him. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl that one year, but outside of that,
You don't think they'll get one?
They should have lost to the Ravens that year.
The spread moved up today, so it's Green Bay -3.5. That makes me worried. Why did it move up? It was -3. Just because someone's betting more.
To be honest with you, the fact that it's only 3, given the fact that the record difference and
It's in Green
at
Bay.
home, like you give them a 3-point home advantage, probably more for them because it's the Dolphins going to cold weather.
That's what people are believing.
Well,
I know the spreads mean nothing, but I like to read into it sometimes.
This is my thought process. If you were to look at all this, if you were to guess the spread at the beginning of the year for the Dolphins versus all these games, you would have the Dolphins favored on like majority of their games. It's because of the recency of like them playing terrible without Tua that it looks bad.
But to go to Green Bay, in Green Bay Thursday night, it's cold. Only 3.5 for Green Bay.
Yeah, but I think those cold games are worse when you're like one of the 7-game slates on a Sunday morning. I think when you have like a primetime game in the cold, it actually helps
There's
you.
going to be 40, 50 million people watching this game. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Josh Jacobs. That guy's amazing. Like, he's
But
so good.
are we good against the run or no? Is that
Calais
our
is
weakness?
amazing against the run, but I remember they used to do this with Derrick Henry. They just run the other side, man. Usually you can't have 3 great people.
What's the weakness on our defense if you've been watching?
We don't stop the run well. Like Calais
Really?
goes out, he doesn't play that many snaps, but I remember there was like the Titans were going running through us. It was like Tony Pollard was just killing us.
That was annoying. Almost made him a Pro Bowl caliber guy. Wait, so you think that? But you're not afraid of Jordan Love? You think we should get a pick off him?
We should, and he's like hurt, so he's not mobile like that. So I think that I think will help us. And I just think Jalen Reed is their best player. They got a guy named Jalen Reed.
Yeah.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like their
Ramsey
slot.
will be on him, no?
You think no? I think Ramsey's going to be on.
Watson?
Yeah, Watson. Watson's a deep ball threat.
He goes
though.
in and out. Sometimes some games he has nothing. He's a no-show, and then some games he has a big game.
Well, we need him to be terrible this year. I've never wanted the team to be bad. Like we need this one bad. It's going to make Thanksgiving so much better. I'm going to eat another plate
It
after
could make
it's
it
done.
worse.
No, they're going to win.
Do you think that like now like when I see your brother talking and stuff, like do you think he's sitting there like he knows he has to carry himself to be this way, or does he really go, yeah, we're gonna win out?
No, that's him. He
Really believes they're gonna win out?
Yeah, he's delusional. He literally thinks he can play in the NBA. Like he's like, yeah, if I wanted to play, I could play in the NBA. I just got to practice and I'll be there. And so he's kind of delusional in a sense, like a realism person, but like relax. But like he genuinely. But I mean, there's good cause for thought. He talks about practice. You know, sometimes he'll call me like, I feel good this week. Watch, I'm gonna get a sack. I'm gonna get one. Watch you. And you're like, damn.
Dude, I want him to get a block a punt this game. We're gonna need him to go.
He should have blocked that punt. Yeah.
He's like they were teaching him. The special teams guy on the Dolphins was like he hasn't done it a lot, but a lot of these guys they come out and they go like this. You got to block like this.
Yeah, you try to get it over your head.
Because you go up like this. You're used to instinctively you go like this to block, but you have to block like this.
Yeah, so
and it's a weird thing of like you don't usually do that.
And he got running into the kicker instead. So it went from
kind
a
of
block punch,
a
special
tough call.
play to a first down.
Tough call. We would have won by a lot more than.
Yeah, no, but he has the most block kicks in NFL history.
Calais does?
Yeah, 11 of them.
Wow, really?
Yeah. He's in Arizona Cardinals days. He was like,
Dude,
at least 2 a season, and he blocked.
I didn't know he watched film like that, but he was telling in the press conference I was watching him talk. He was like, I was watching who was it the Raiders game. He was like, I was watching some on film, and in my head I said, oh, he's doing something where I could probably do my move and block a punt. I didn't tell anyone, but in my head I had a feeling I could maybe block a punt against the Raiders. I was like, man, he's watching film on special teams. This guy's a dog.
Well, you know what he does? He just gets so much body work. So he's on his table, and like, the guy's coming to like give him pain, and so he just watches his iPad. He's just on his iPad watching all these plays and watching the players and what they do. And so you got to keep in mind, this is 17 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Some people watch film and they're just enjoying it. Like they're just like, oh, this is a great player. And oh, look at this. He knows he's watching for certain clips where he don't even need to watch the whole play. He just, all right, this guy steps in.
Man, bro, if we can get, we're gonna need something in this game, like a special teams play or a defensive
strip sack.
We're
man.
gonna need something.
I like this Chop Robinson kid. I'm gonna go ahead and call it Chop gets a strip sack, man.
Dude, so he's kind of developing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think about it.
And he wouldn't have had this opportunity if Jalen Phillips didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but he also gets an opening opportunity because Sear and Calais demand so much attention that he gets these one-on-ones. He's a fast edge guy.
Bro, when Bradley Chubb comes back, this is going to be a dangerous team.
I know. When is Chubb's coming back?
I got to think it's close. Like, I think he's eligible to practice. So, obviously, I think a good time for him to come back would be the Jets because now you have an extra week to prepare.
But I don't want to rush him back after seeing the Phillips situation. I don't want to rush players back anymore, man. That guy can't.
We don't need him for the Jets. How about that?
Yeah.
We need him for Houston.
You're sleeping on the Jets, and I feel like wouldn't that be the trashiest scenario that we win?
It's at home, though. So, if like, I'm not going to sleep in the Jets will play the spoiler to us the last game of the season, right?
Yeah.
It's the last game. It's not going to be easy. It's in New York. It's going to be cold. They're all going to be sitting here. It's the last game of the season. We're playing for contracts, whatever. That's a scary game. But at home,
I've been to the Jets game 3 times at their stadium.
Yeah.
One time when Calais was on the Falcons, one time when he was on the Ravens, and one time he was on the Cardinals. That's crazy, all 3 teams.
Yeah.
And that stadium is depressing. Like, those fans are not – that's the most deprived fan base ever.
Dude,
it was so bad. There was a guy doing heroin next to me. He was literally doing something. I was like, damn, he's doing some strong drugs. He started leaning,
Bro.
and it was just, I was just like, yo, this guy's doing heroin, right? This is crazy.
They've had the worst luck more than the Dolphins. I mean, at least we have a history of like, they haven't won anything.
No, they were good that year. They had a Al Michaels. They had that defense.
They had that defense with Rex Ryan, sure.
Yeah.
Where they went to the AFC Championship a couple times, but since then their luck. I mean, dude, nobody saw this coming. I mean, bro, you're talking about you're gonna have a top 5 pick now, and you're talking about Rodgers not being on the team anymore. This is weird. You fired everyone.
Are you gonna put this on the Dolphins? Like any threads of the Dolphins, like the Reddit? Because I
I
gotta address this. No one's ever addressed this.
Yeah.
All right, so throughout Calais' career, I would just look on his Twitter, see what people were talking about him, and I could tell you that he was genuinely hated by the Miami Dolphins fan base. Are you aware of this?
Who really?
Calais was hated by the Miami Dolphins fan base because in a play when he played Arizona, he was falling and he ended up landing in Ryan Tannehill's knee.
I remember that.
And everybody was like, "You ruined the Dolphins. They were so good that year. Ryan Tannehill's career is over."
We went to
and,
the playoffs.
and anyone who knows Calais, he's not a dirty player.
I know.
He's never did anything dirty. He's just a big
But that
guy.
was the play he got hurt, and we ended up having to have Matt Moore in the playoffs. We were a pretty good team that year.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so obviously, I can see the frustration. But now that he's playing, like a lot of fans who were like, "This Calais Campbell guy's the enemy." Like I remember somebody read a tweet and somebody's like, every morning I wake up and hope that Calais Campbell gets what's coming to him. And it was just like very, very dark fan base
Bro,
stuff.
I hate that, dude.
No, I mean at the end of the day, like you get to a point where you're like, yeah, he's not on your team. You feel like he ruins your perfect season. They hadn't had a quarterback for years after that, like Tannehill. And then now, like obviously, people are like, this is one of my favorite Dolphin players of all time. Like his leadership and like the way he comes and holds himself and the
way
standard.
he talks, yeah.
And so, I just want the fan base to realize that Calais has never been a dirty player, and honestly, I think I would love for him to play 2 years with the Dolphins. I think that he has another.
I think he's proven it.
If they get close, I think he may come back. But obviously, the salary cap is so fucked that he's playing for free. Like how much money he pays for to take care of his body.
I think he's shown that he's worth at least $5 million.
No, I mean it's
they
not.
Could give him that.
He's rich. He doesn't need the money. I mean, I need the money from him. Like the money he would give us residually just goes down. You know? It's like,
His last year of contract should just be for your bank so you can retire.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm like, hey man, let's go steal one. Let's go to the Panthers, get a $12 million deal, man. You just give every one of us $1 million to start a business.
I hope that he actually. How about this? I hope he gets to retire this year because something crazy happens. How about that,
bro?
Because he walks off with the Super Bowl win.
Hear me out. This is the craziest thing you're gonna hear, right?
Yeah.
I believe that everything balances out. Calais, his first year in the NFL was 2008. He was on the Arizona Cardinals with Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Breston, and I think
Anquan. He was on that Super Bowl team?
The Super Bowl team. They started off the season. They were not supposed to make the playoffs.
No.
They went on a crazy good tear. They became the last seed in the playoffs. They were the 6th seed. This is before they had 7 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they make a run. They just go for it. They end up beating, I think, the Panthers. And then they beat the Falcons.
Jake Delhomme and them. Yeah.
And then they had the Eagles coming up because the Eagles just happened to upset on the other side. So like the top 2 teams were out. So the Eagles were like 1 seed lower than them. So they were the 5th seed.
Yeah.
They play the Eagles at home. They win that one. They go to the championship. They should have won that game. That was the game Santonio Holmes.
One of the greatest Super Bowl catches ever.
Larry Fitzgerald had one of the best.
Well, it's also that Kurt Warner, that pick right before halftime, the pick 6.
Yeah, they couldn't
that
tackle
cost
him.
him. You got to get points there. You got to get at least a field goal, and he throws 100, the longest interception return in NFL
slow
history.
James Harrison, who was a good friend of mine now,
Bro.
but like, he should.
Yeah.
But only reason I'm saying that is this season seems eerily similar to that season, where like they could go on a tear, become the 6th seed in the playoffs, go on a run, win that game, go to championship and win it. Could you imagine his career ending and starting with a Super Bowl appearance?
Dude, I'll tell you this right now. If the Dolphins won a Super Bowl this year, I don't think I would want to say this, but I might say this. If they won a Super Bowl, I always said I don't get another pet. I want to get another dog one day, but I always jokingly say I'm not getting another dog until there's a championship from the Heat or Dolphins, so I have someone to name the dog after. Because my last dog was named after Dwayne Wade. We won in 2006. Yeah. I got the dog in 2007. So I was like, what do I name him? And me and my friends were like, Wade. We got to name him Wade because Wade was since Marino, the biggest icon in South Florida sports. He brought us a championship. So Since then, I was like, all right, if the Dolphins win a Super Bowl, I'll get a dog and name it after whoever pretty much was the reason we won the Super Bowl. So I'd probably maybe get a Tua.
Yeah, now you got to name
But
it Waddle.
now-
Waddle's a good dog name. You can't name it.
I'll name
Tyreek.
him, dude. If we win a Super Bowl, I'll get a dog and name him Calais.
Bro. But then I don't want you to be like, come here, Calais.
Calais,
Bitch. Come
Calais
here.
isn't. Calais, no, it's not really a good dog name. Clay.
But no, I to be like, if we're being, I don't want to jump the gun. I just 5
yeah,
years ago,
are you starting? You're starting to feel delusional. I see it.
Well, this is the thing. Like, the reason why he went there, they have the personnel. Like, if they weren't in a championship, you wouldn't be like, how could they do this? They have literally 2 of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're underperforming right now, but if they get to where they're just performing on par,
Yeah.
they're thriving. They have 2 of the better running backs, like Etienne and Mozart. I mean, he's
And Jalen Wright, who doesn't even get to get
yeah, he
used a lot.
fumbled.
He's a rookie.
You fumble, you're out of there. Come on.
It's kind of both of their faults, right? That was just like, what's going on? It was like the minute Skylar, it's a bad break for Skylar because everyone's like, F Skylar, get him out of there.
Yeah.
But he can't fumble that. It's more the running back's fault.
Yeah, but I think that the personnel, the defense was the biggest question mark. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, you got Ramsey, you got Fuller, you got Poyer, you got guys Holland, you got guys enough that like this isn't like if they made it to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be like, how did they do that? Like they literally built themselves to be like to the
You
next
got to get
step.
hot right now, and this is the game.
They need a statement game. Who's the team they blow out? Like every time you see a team go to the championship, they have that like week 14, week 13 just domination.
Well, like what the Ravens did to the Dolphins last year. They won like 52-20, and they
Yeah.
killed us. And then that's when even the sports shows were like, that's it for the Dolphins. Like, I understand they were playing good all year, but you lose a game like that in week 16, the locker room's not going to believe you're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You can't lose a game that bad
Yeah.
late in the season, even if you're a good team. So if we can go week like that 49ers game or in Cleveland or at like one of those 2 games or even in Houston, we could be that team that makes Houston go, oh, we're not going anywhere.
I mean, but you're catching it at the right time where, like, you get them that game where you have to cover Tyreek and you forget to cover him. He gets those 2 long bombs and the next.
Maybe that San Francisco game.
I'm just saying we need that. Could be this week. It could be that national televised statement game of being like, you know what, y'all slept on us. We're dogs when we should be 8-point favorites. Like
Dude,
that's
this is the game that historically, and I'll tell you this as a fan, historically we lose this game.
no. This whole season historically has been the opposite. We were supposed to be a team that was with 10 wins
Yeah, I
over
know.
under, and we start off 2-6. And so
But
historically,
as a fan, I'm always watching, and I'm every year, especially for the last 5 years, we've been in a situation where like, if we win this, and then it was last year, it was the Titans game. Like, you can't lose that. If we win that game with a 2 seed, it changes
it
everything.
was the interception pick 6, right? It was like who
No, we were up by 10, and then they just made a fourth quarter run with DeAndre Hopkins, and it was another situation where like, hey man, all you need to do is get a first down. Come on, McDaniel and Tua 2 different drives couldn't get a first down, and I was like, he's not it. You got to be able to get a first down.
I think they need to learn how to take shots, though. I don't think they do that well. Like, I feel like good teams, like, it's 4th and 1, and you don't just try that run or that dump. It's like 4th and 1, fuck that, we're taking you deep. Like, because teams don't expect it. That's always,
Yeah.
they're putting 260 high for that. You just
Yeah.
gotta say, get to a point where, like, we're going to.
This is a game where like I'm so nervous, man. I'm just so nervous.
Well, how about this? If we do good here, we'll do this again next week.
Oh hell yeah, we'll do it again every week until
Let's do it. I like your place.
And then you have to go to the 49ers game.
I mean, Christmas time, obviously, my mom and them are going to be there, so I don't know. I'd probably
Well,
like
actually,
to be there.
maybe I don't need you to, because then you're gonna block me from getting tickets again.
Oh, yeah, we definitely. Calais was like, I need
18, dude.
87 tickets for the.
My plug for the Rams was like, dude, we just don't have anymore. I go, what do you mean? This is the first time in 4 years I've never got a fucking ticket from them. Every year they've always
I
hooked
can
me
literally
up.
tell you when he actually told, like, I can tell you the moment it happened because he only had 20 tickets. And obviously his wife's family's from here, so they needed 11, right? His 2 kids, their grandparents, and then like her close cousins that are very close. And then he was like, hey, I got 9 for our family, which is like me, my mom, my sister, my brother Raj, that's 5. And he was like, you got 4 more for like the closest friends, right? And he has, 3 of his best friends from college are here. And so I'm like, we ain't gonna have enough. Like somebody's gonna have to not go. And then finally they were like, we got our wives and everything. So he was like, oh, I just found a way to get 8 more tickets. So they ended up giving him 8 more tickets, and then we had like 2 extra ones. And I was like, yep, them Lenoci's tickets, man.
Yeah,
It was,
because he was like, dude, I don't know what happened. We just don't have it. And then I meet with Jared after the game. I bought tickets. I went because I was like not gonna miss it. And he's like, yeah, they gave us 18 tickets. I go,
If you would have hit me up in the morning time, we could have fought for that one, man. I think we ended up giving it to like.
Well, now we know that he's like, dude, he felt bad. He's a really nice guy. Anyways, I introduced him to you. He's like, dude, I got you for San Francisco. I'll get you 4. And now I'm like, well, unless Jared shows up with his whole family again.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're winning, I gotta go. You know.
Well, I want you to go because I think it's gonna be a fun time, anyways.
Who's the next? I want to go on a road game. I have not been on any of the Dolphins.
I know. I wanted you to go to the Houston one because I have a show that night.
I have a show
But
here,
now
so
you have
I
a show
can't.
here. You can't.
I
And then
could
that's
fly
it.
out in the morning though, but yeah,
You could.
I might.
Why
if
don't
it's
you?
fun.
If you well, it's you could leave here at 10. No, let me see.
Then you're gonna get one of them 6 a.m. flights, but they have a hub. Houston's a hub airport.
So it's a 1 o'clock game, which is a 12 o'clock game central. So it'd be 12 o'clock there. You could get there and go straight to the game, and then you come in and we go do the show at night.
Calais gets 3 sacks that game. He got 4 sacks the last time he played in Houston. At Houston, he helped Deshaun Watson get the starting job. They had a guy named Tim Savage was their quarterback, and he got sacked. Calais sacked him 4 times in the first half, and they put Deshaun Watson up there. So
that game's big. I mean, why not go to it? Because then the 49ers probably not going to go to the Cleveland game in Cleveland. That would be cool.
Why would anyone go to Cleveland?
Yeah, it's Sunday night though too.
Oh, it's a Sunday night game? Oh, damn it! You know James is gonna throw a couple interceptions.
Really? Good. Then we have 18 the Jets. Well, it's good that you believe.
I definitely believe. All right, man. Well, I gotta run.
Yeah, let's
I gotta
get
go
outta
talk. After I'm leaving this, I go talk to my therapist, man. Yeah, I've been doing therapy, right? That's
Really?
a cool thing. Yeah, I'm trying to break stereotypes. I'm like, yo, I'm a jock, big black athlete, and like.
You seem you're actually more, you're pretty open intelligently, emotionally.
I know, but I just go in there and I just talk to this therapist. And I just let it all go, man. I just fucking let it. Just yeah.
Family stuff.
Just everything, yeah,
Like,
man.
why was my brother 6'8" and I wasn't?
Bro, it helps. Though. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, like imagine being a comedian at 6'8". It's like, is there any comedians that are that tall? Who's the tallest comedian you know?
Michael Costa's like 6'4".
Yeah, but you
Jeff
know.
Dye's pretty. But I think Dana Tosh is tall.
No, Ted Natasha's like 6'2", 6'3".
Really?
He's not tall like that.
No, there isn't really a lot of like 6'6". I mean, Kevin Nealon's pretty tall.
Yeah, but I don't want to be a tall comedian. I feel like I'm great Hollywood height. Like this is a good height to become like a celebrity.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, who knows? I mean, I hope height has nothing to do with being funny.
No, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ignore it. You can't just go
I
there and do
think tall
jokes about
people
the
have
weather.
confidence and likability. You like a tall person.
What do you get all the
likes-
girls? Women like you can be
Yeah.
ugly and tall and
Yeah,
get a lot of
yeah,
women compared to being like the coolest short guys.
We'll see. I mean, all right. Well,
All right, man. Well, thank you, man.
thanks for coming. And then I just hope that this isn't. I hope that this isn't our last podcast. Let's hope. How about that?
No, man. I'm believing now. You got me excited, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows if you really believe because you'll lie to me.
No, I'm pretty honest, man. I was definitely like, hey, man, I think
I
we're
was
getting out of
texting you
here.
and I was
Hey, we're
like,
getting
I
out of
don't
here, bro. It was great. It was great being a Dolphin,
You remember?
bro.
I remember I was texting you. I was texting you to test you because I was worried. Like I was like, hey, what do you think about this next game? And I was hitting you up. Like I forgot what the conversation was, but I was kind of putting things out there. I go, let me see if he's gonna be cold to me because maybe they're getting traded. Like I was like, oh, you gonna go to the game? Because the Rams game. I was like, you gonna be at the Rams game? Because I was like, what if he is getting traded? Because I was seeing stuff on Twitter. And I go, well, maybe Jared will tell me. He's
I'll
like,
tell
hey,
you the
man,
trade story.
Hey man,
I'm not gonna let Ian Rappaport take it. You recording still? All right.
yeah, hey man, I
right.
figured you would just tell me like, hey, I think we're gonna try to leave the Dolphins.
So they said they wouldn't trade Calais unless he asked to be traded. They said
Yeah.
they would not trade him against his will.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm good. I don't want to be traded. The day of the Tuesday, he told him at like, I think, 11 o'clock when at the deadline was 4 p.m. Eastern. He was like, yo, I'm open to being traded. And so I don't know if they got on the phone or teams started calling in. And it was a bidding war. They had 9 teams offered at least a 6th-round pick. And I was like, there's not even 9 competitors. Like, who's offering them? Like, is it literally just like the Titans be like, hey, we'll take
Like teams on the cusp or like that are maybe close.
The Cardinals, obviously. I think the Bears even kind of went after him again. And the Commanders, Bengals. But then they started becoming a bidding war. So then the teams offered a 5th were the 49ers and the Ravens. And they were like, oh, we'll go with the Ravens. You know, you're familiar with that team. They look good. You're good. And then the 49ers came in last minute. Was like, we'll give a 4th round for him. Which, like, I don't know if you understand trade currency, but like a 4th round is like a pretty good pick. Like, that's not a
Could
bad
be a
team.
starter. Yeah.
And if they would have gave it to him and they sucked, that would have been like potentially like the late 3rd round pick, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that they turned that down, so they ended up like Calais was prepared to be traded. And he was
So
like,
they all talked about it. Calais was like talking about with Greer, and he's like, you know what? Let's just stay.
well, I think he was telling me at the time, like, yo, these are what's going on. I don't know where I'm going to go, but basically these are the teams offering. It's kind of crazy. And then, like, right before the final plug was there, they were like, you know what? And I guess it came out that McDaniels was stepped in, was like, yo, this is our jobs on the line. Like, we're not going to throw in the towel in the season. This is one of our better players. And they decided to not trade him, even though he thought he was going to be traded.
So it was true that McDaniel was like, no.
Somehow they came to the conclusion on the final hour before they were like, yeah, give us that pick, to be like, no, we're not going to do this. And Calais was kind of shocked, but he was like, man, it made me feel like love, because he was like, if you turn on a 4th round pick for like a 38-year-old guy on an expiring contract, you must really want me, because like that's like you lose really nothing. Like you lose, you're not losing any. You're gaining something for next year that you would lose anyways. And so the fact that happened and then they went on a 3-game win streak, it looks like the right move. So yeah, but that was a trade story.
That's our clickbait, baby. We're posting it in the Dolphins thread.
There we go, baby.
And also his brother's apology for the Tannehill thing. Don't get upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't hurt him intentionally. And
Tannehill wasn't going to win 2 playoff games anyways.
Yeah. Let's go Dolphins. Go Fins.
All right, we'll see you guys. Hopefully we get the dub on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.